I've got all the glass cleaned off with my chopping block, and we're ready to make some slaw. And y'all, most of the time I make my slaw with my food processor. You know, I'll grind it up with that. But I've already used most of this cabbage. As a matter of fact, the end of it right here needs to be cut off a little bit. There we go. I had it wrapped up in the refrigerator, and I was going to make slaw out of the rest of it, so that'll be a good thing. The air turns it dark, so you can't wait a few days to do it. But anyway, this is what I've got left of my cabbage. And a long time ago, before I had a food processor, I made mine with just a box grater, and I'm going to do it on that side. You got all kind of sides you can do it on, okay? And this takes a little muscle. So you just stand in your kitchen and sing a song while you're doing it, or get your big old grandson to do it for you. I talked to my grandson today. He said a wasp got in their house. And so he was going to slap that wasp down with his hand, his fingers. And when he slapped it down like that, his finger hit the floor. He killed the wasp, but his finger's all swollen up, not from a bite, from bending it backwards on the floor. So, anyways, he was telling me about that. And then I said, "What's your mom and daddy doing?" He said, "They're at work. They had to work today." And I'm sorry about that. It's such a beautiful day. I hate they're having to work. I wish they'd be home and get to do something there. There we go. That makes it better. I can handle that, y'all. Just to get your aggression out. Are you aggravated with something today? Are you aggravated with somebody today? Last night I went out to eat with George's cousin, and I ordered slaw, and I think it made me want some slaw. Whew. Oh my goodness. And yes, you can grate it all down into the core. There's nothing wrong with the core when you're grated for cabbage. When you're cooking it, you might have to cook it a little bit longer. But when you're making cabbage slaw, and y'all, you're asking in your mind, you're saying, what do you eat slaw with? Well, I like it with a big ham. I like it with fried catfish. I like it with barbecue, like barbecue ribs or something like that. I love it with that. All right, now we're going to put this much in a bowl before we put anything else. I got to empty it. This is the bowl I'm going to put it in. Do y'all know the name of this bowl? I'm going to see how many of you do before I tell it. It's lime green. It also came in light pink and clear and amber, and occasionally you can find a light blue. Y'all know what this is called? I've got several pieces of the pink and green. Those are my two favorite colors. It's depression glass. And this is a depression glass bowl. They used to be cheap. They're not cheap anymore because they're hard to find. And so I'm going to put our cabbage in this. And you think, well, golly, that thing made a lot, didn't it? Well, yes, it did. All right, we got that much done. Now let's do the rest of it. Hadn't got much more to go. We'll talk about something else. My mother never made her cabbage in her slaw in a food processor, because she didn't have one. Neither did your granny either. They had to do like this. Sometimes they didn't even have this. They had to use their knife. To make their slaw. I'm going to have mine with meatloaf. That's what I'm having mine with. I'm going to make a meatloaf. I'll show y'all that too. But I've shown you before, but I'll show you again. I'll show you again. It might make you might want to make a meatloaf. Make sure that you don't get your finger in this, y'all. You'll have a ground up, you'll have meat in your slaw if you do that. All right, that's about it. A little bit maybe right there. Okay. See how fine that is? It grinds it real fine, and that's how I like it. I like it real fine. Now, with these pieces that you've got left right here, somebody asked me if I had a mulch pile. Yes, I do have a mulch pile. I just put eggshells in it not more than 30 minutes ago. They were left over from breakfast, and I'm just now getting them out there. If you've got a little bit left right here that you can't get in there, you're just going to have to hold it together real tight and cut it just the best you can. Because sometimes when it gets so little, you can't mix it up in that grater. It's too tight. All right, there we go. We don't want to waste this little bit. That's a whole serving right there. All right, here's what we're going to do now. I am going to put in just a few onions, and these are some that I had left over, so they're going to be harder to cut because I'm not going to put many in there, just a little bit, since we don't have much cabbage to start with. Hold it together like this if you got it in pieces, and just barely do, y'all. Just barely do. And then we're going to go back the other way, and we're going to get some little flavors in there. You want this cut fine too. I guess we could have grated in the box grater if it was a whole onion, but when it's cut up like this already, I ate some of it for lunch today. I had some leftover pinto beans and some bread. Let me show y'all this bread that I had. Oh, it was so good. This was given to me today. Look at this. Look at that pretty bread. Isn't that pretty? And I put my honey butter that I made the other day, I put it on top of it. And I had a piece of bread with butter on it. And I had a bowl of pinto beans and this onion that I'm cutting up right here. I ate a bunch of it. And that's what I had for lunch. And what I did is I took it outside on my back porch. And y'all been on the back porch with me so many times. And we've enjoyed just sitting out there. I've got a swing on the front porch and on the back porch. And some of you sent me some bulbs. And I planted them. And I went out there a while ago. And they are poking their heads out of the soil already. And I hadn't got them, had them planted hardly maybe a week and a half or something like that. This is not a good chopping knife when you get down to the nitty gritty. You got to have you a bigger one. That's more of a slicer knife or something. I can slice everything with it. But this one works really good when I'm trying to get it little. I just didn't want much onion in this one. It may be overpowering. Now, if you've never made slaw, it is so easy and it keeps really good. And you can eat it with a lot of stuff. And your children need to learn to eat it. Mine love it. I like to just get a bowl of it and eat it with saltine crackers. All right, there's our onions cut real fine. Put that in there. All right, now we're ready to put the stuff we don't have to cut up. Which is, you know, don't you? Which is mayonnaise. Mayonnaise. All right, here we're going to do. You know, you're going to have to judge each time. Wait a minute, I forgot this. What am I doing? I got to have some celery in there because you want some crunch. I didn't wash but 2.5 things of it. I didn't string it yet, so we want to make sure you string it. You just barely get your knife under there and pull, and those strings come off. You don't want those in your slaw. You start at this and you just barely go under it. Hold it with your thumb and pull. And we're going to get these strings out of this celery. It makes it taste a lot better. I think some people don't like celery because they don't like strings in it. And I can't blame them, can y'all? Look, that one had a lot. We're just going to put 2 of them in, though, okay? I don't even have my light on, do I? Hold on a minute. I didn't even think about that. I'm sorry. Y'all need to see what we're doing. Let's turn us on the light. Why didn't y'all tell me? I didn't hear a single one of you say a single word. All right, we're going to turn it on. Let's turn it on. Now, and turn it around where it's facing us. Oh, that made a huge difference. I don't know what I ever did without this light. One of y'all gave it to me a long time ago. I've been using it probably 2 years or more. Can y'all see better now? I bet you can. Okay, now then, and here's a little one. It probably doesn't have any strings because it's so young. What you want to do is cut it long ways like this. And cut it real thin, because that's going to make it, the little squares that you're going to put in it, really thin. Make it taste good. Put a little extra crunch in there. Anyway, what I was telling y'all is I like to eat slaw with saltine crackers, and sometimes what I do is I just get me a bowl of it with some crackers and go out on the porch and sit and enjoy. That's what I do. Y'all like to eat outside too when the weather's good? I do. All right, put it together like this, y'all. Like that. Hold it in the middle and cut it. Push this part back up with that part and then grab it, because that way it's going to cut your time down. And cut little tiny tinies. Push away from you and then pull back. Push away and pull back. See how little they are? This is going to give a nice little crunch in there and a nice little flavor in your slaw. You can eat on this for days. Now, if you did a whole cabbage, it takes a while to get it done, so you may want to do yours in your, chop it in your food processor. But make sure it's fine. All right. Now, I got a lot of more ingredients to go in here yet, so stay with me. Y'all don't leave me. I think some of you are so short, your attention span's kind of like those kindergartners in school that you can't talk but 5 minutes and then they're off into la-la land. Well, some of y'all are the same way. I think it's our society. I think that we've been playing on that cell phone so long and flipping it and going this way and going that way that we don't have an attention span anymore. It just comes and goes. All right, here we go. All right, that's it. All right, let's put this in. Now, did you see how fine it is? Okay, now then, let's clean this off. There we go. I forgot my celery, didn't I? All right, now we're going to mix it up. We'll go back to the mayonnaise. Now, this is my favorite condiment. And I'm going to put just 2. Well, I might better put 3 because that's a good bit of cabbage. I know when y'all first saw it, you thought, my goodness, that's a lot of, that's a mighty big bowl for that little bit of cabbage. All right, now this is called pickled relish. Now, there is a huge difference. Now, y'all listen to me on this one. There's a huge difference on pickle relish and picklets. Picklets is what they call them. They're both cut up pickles. They're sweet pickles. That's what I'm using. And they sell both kinds. But the relish is cut really tiny. So you don't get this big hunk of pickle in there when you're taking a bite. It's just a hint. And so this is why I like the relish. Okay? So I'm going to put about 4 forks full. Or maybe 3. 1. I'm going to put 3. 2. And 3. Okay, and that's sweet pickles. Then I'm going to put in a little sugar. This holds 1/3 of a cup right here, but I'm just going to sprinkle a little sugar on it. And I'm going to put some salt on it. And I'm going to put pepper on it. I got to get out my other pepper thing. Like that. Okay, sometimes I will put a tablespoon. Oh, excuse me, y'all. Excuse me. A tablespoon of vinegar. But I'm not today. So I don't always do that. All right, now let's mix this up. Just fold it in. Put the mayonnaise around. Like that. And you're going to judge whether you've got enough stuff in it or not. Like mayonnaise or pickles or whatever. And I'm looking as I'm stirring because I'm trying to see if it's gooey enough. Sometimes you want to take the back of your spoon and press around so to see if the mayonnaise is working around in there real good. Okay? Let's see what we got here. I think that's gooey enough. It looks good. I don't see a whole lot of... There's a whole celery I didn't chop. Let's get that out of there. I don't see a whole lot of pickles, though. Let's do one more little thing of pickles. Just a little bit. Boy, if we had us some catfish or some... big old ham or some barbecue. Would that be good? But we don't have it. I'm making this for tomorrow. And we're going to have meatloaf because I've already decided and I've already bought my stuff. I'm going to show y'all how to make it. All right, there you go. Now put it in there pretty like that. Get your paper towel. And we're going to clean off the side. What you could have done is mixed it up in a different container to start with, and then that would look better. And then just poured it in here. Okay? Now then, we're going to taste it. I should have tasted it before I wiped it off. It is perfect. I don't need a thing else in it. It's perfect. All I'm going to do now is cover it up with a little plastic wrap. And it is ready for tomorrow. And see, you got your salad done. As my mama always said, when you're expecting company, get your salad made, get your dessert made, and set your table. And then the next day, you just fix a vegetable or two and your meat, and you're done. And you drink. You make your tea ahead of time, too. Like that. That's, listen. So, let's see if y'all remember. What did I say this glass was? Do you have any of it? What color have you got? This is depression glass. It came in pink and this mint green. maybe kind of lime green, amber, clear, and occasionally a blue. The only blue I've ever had is somebody, not somebody, down at my antique shop that we used to run, I had some blue coffee cups that were amber. That were blue. That were the depression glass. So let me know if you have this, the depression glass. I'm interested to know if you even knew what it was. Some of you younger ones may not know even what it is. They had all kind of things. They had cups and saucers and plates. They had beautiful bowls of all sizes. Just all kind of stuff that they made out of depression glass. And it's all clear, and you can see through all of it. And let me say this. It's getting close to the time that we're fixed to print the books. Because, we said we're going to have them here by the fall. So we're fixed to start printing really soon. If your name is not on the list, you're not going to get a book, y'all. We'll order a few extra. Not a whole lot, though, because I don't want them just sitting around. They will not be sold in stores. They will not be sold on Amazon. So don't think that you can get them later, because you can't. It's my third cookbook, and the name of it is Live Each Little Moment, y'all. It means something to me. That title does. And if you'll go to BrendaGantBook.com, you can order it. You will not be charged until the week before the book is sent to you on your credit card. You won't be charged. So don't look on there to see if it went through, because it'll go through. But here's something you need to know. You know how some of us old folks, we lose our credit cards? If you lose yours and you forgot that you even ordered a book, let's say, and you lost your credit card and they sent you a new one, and you didn't call Hoffman and tell them that you got a new number, then when they try to send your book to you, the credit card won't go through because you got a new card. So if something happens to your card during the time that you ordered it and whatever, call Hoffman and tell them. I have the number back there. Let me go. Well, I don't need to go find it. Y'all, I'll put it in the words. I noticed that some of you are not reading the words. And here's what's happening. Up there at the top, when I show this, I'm going to write something. Sometimes I write 2 or 3 paragraphs above the recipe. And you don't read them. You know how I know? Because the questions you ask down at the bottom. Because I read those. I read what you say. And I scroll through it and try to answer them. But, so you're not reading it. And you know where it, on there it says, it'll have 3 or 4 lines and it'll say see more. If you press the see more on my words, you're going to see more. In other words, you're going to see the rest of what I wrote to you. And then you can watch the video. And in that, see more, I'm going to give you links. And I'm going to give you advice. And I'm going to tell you something. And a lot of times I'll ask you something. I know y'all think I'm so bossy. Well, I've always been. This lady, these people today that were at the Cottle house, we got to talking. And a little girl was there today. Her name was Hattie Mae. Just the cutest little thing. Kind of had reddish hair. She was 6 years old. And she was just a little doll. But anyway, Hattie Mae was her name. And we all got to talking about when we were little. And y'all, when I was a little girl, I guess maybe 5th grade, maybe something like that, I got a spanking at school because I got in a fight on the playground. Well, here's something you got to know about me. I had 3 little brothers. 2 of them were my real brothers, and one of them was my mother's sister's little boy, because my mother's sister passed away, and so mother raised him from first grade up. Well, I was the firstborn. So when somebody started picking on my little brothers and bothering them or pulling on them or whatever they were doing, I stepped in and I took care of it. I took care of it. They didn't bother my brothers anymore after that, because I'd give them a working over. And so that day when I was in 5th grade, there was a little boy out on the playground. He was kind of frail. You know, he just wasn't really big and all that. He's just kind of skinny and didn't know how to fight like I did. And somebody started picking on him and was beating him up, and I mean beating him up bad. And I'm standing there like this. And I just had to jump in. I just had to. I had to help that child, that little boy that couldn't defend himself. So I jumped in and gave that other boy a working over. And he left the scene, let me put it that way. But I got in trouble for fighting on the playground. But I took it like a man. I went into the principal's office just like they told me to. My principal was named Miss Scott. She was a heavy-set older lady with gray hair and a bun. She was real strict. And she kept a switch in her room. And so she switched me that day. And that was okay, because I had done wrong. But she switched me. And my mama said, good for her. That's how mamas used to be. If you got a spanking at home, at school, you usually got one at home. I didn't get one at home, but she was on the principal's side because she knew I had done wrong. There was another way I could have intervened instead of beating up the other kid or whatever. But that's just the way I was. And so that little girl at the Cottle House was just listening to everything I said, and her eyes were this big. She's going, and just listening to this story. And I looked at her and I said, I had to stay in almost every afternoon at school for talking. And on my report card, it says, Brenda talked too much. She talks too much. I mean, it's like I never shut up. So I'd have to stay in after school for talking. And my mother said, because she'd come get me in the car. I didn't ride a bus to school or anything. She said, well, you're going to walk home from now on. I'm not coming up here and picking up your brothers and then having to come back and pick you up. And she didn't pick me up, and I had to walk home. So I got to where I didn't talk until the teacher turned her back. Then I said something to somebody. I guess I was a mischievous child. And I guess that's just the way I was. But y'all, I'm going to go. I hope you will make this good salad and cook you something good. Cook you a ham. I'll tell you something else that's good with it. Ham, macaroni, cheese, and coleslaw. That's a good meal. Maybe some green beans or squash with it. Or fried catfish, hush puppies, french fries, and coleslaw. Or you could have cheese grits and coleslaw. It goes with a lot of stuff. Or cook you a slab of ribs and have coleslaw. Some people even put if you cook a Boston butt on the grill, some people, when they open their bun, they put their meat on it and then put a scoop of coleslaw on it, and it's a slaw thing. Y'all, don't procrastinate on your book. And if you don't want one, don't come complaining to me after it's too late. I can't do a thing. I can't do a thing about it. Hoffman Media is the one selling them. Now, here's what people, the scammers do. They go to Hoffman Media. They order 20 books. Let's say 20 books. And then they put them on Amazon for $200 or $350. Some of them sold for $350. And you know who they sold to? People who didn't know that they could just order it for $35.95. They didn't know because they hadn't seen me. So spread the word that the books aren't expensive, and it took me a year to do them. And they're ready. All we're waiting on is our list right now to get everybody's name on the list so that we won't have anybody left out. I don't want, if you want it, I don't want you to be left out. Let me know now if you got any of this. I want to know it. What is it now? Can you remember? Depression glass. A box grater. A butcher knife. Pickle relish. And mayonnaise and onions. Okay. Y'all have a great day. Hope you have a good dinner tonight and tomorrow. Hope your toes feel good under the sheets tonight. Love you. Bye-bye.